my book and wax friends. I am Amber. If you are new, welcome. Welcome if you are returning. So glad to have you here with me. Today is a book and home fragrance video. It is my monthly wrap up of the books that I read in July. And to go along with that, because I love home fragrance so much, I do melt a wax with whatever the book it is that I'm reading, just depending on the vibes of the book or how I'm feeling at the time. Is just something I want to melt. So I have those to share for you at the end, and everything will be time-stamped for you so you can check out whatever you want. But to begin with, I read 6 books. So usually I read between 8 and 10, so it was a little bit lower this time. But I did enjoy the books that I got through in July. So let's jump into the first one I have to share with you. This was my first read for July, and it is Nightweaver. I actually started this in June, I think at the end of June, but I knew I couldn't finish it, and so it moved into July. I gave this one a 4-star. This is about a girl and her family. The girl's name is Aster Oberon, and she and her family at the beginning of the book, they're pirates. They live on the sea. That's kind of where they live. They haven't been to land. Her and other people like her haven't been onto land in years because other people called the Nightweavers took over. And from fables and whatever else, all the lore, the folklore of the Nightweavers, everyone thinks, or Aster anyway, and other people like her that live on the sea think that they're these vicious, let me eat humankind type of people, like vampires, they think they are. And at the beginning, you start out right away at the beginning of the book, there's a battle, and Aster and her family end up getting captured, and they end up getting taken to land to where the Nightweavers live, and come to find out that maybe Aster finds out that they aren't what she expected, but there is an overarching like evil that they're trying to combat. And so Aster and her family end up becoming servants for this well-to-do Nightweaver family called the Casters. Yeah, Castor. And one of the sons, his name was Will Castor. He's the one that ended up taking them to his home for them to be servants for their family. So that is where it starts. And you find out various things throughout the story. The main female character, Aster, I did enjoy her character, and she had a nice arc in regards to what she thought about certain things at the beginning of the book, and then things are revealed throughout the story. I liked her relationship with Will. And then there is the family, the Castor family, Will included, are kind of close confidants with the royal family. And you come to meet Prince, what was his name? Prince Titus. And I actually did really enjoy Prince Titus. And it looks like there may or may not be a love triangle. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yes, 4-star. I really enjoyed this overall. It was a great book. Very much an adventure type of story. This is YA, and there is no content to worry about in this one. And so yeah, Nightweaver. The second book comes out, I think next month, something like that, or soon. It comes out in the next few months anyway. So Nightweaver, this was by, I don't know if I said R.M. Gray. The next book I read was Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. This one is a prequel to the Hunger Games series, and you're following Haymitch in this one, and you find out about his games. 5 stars. It was 5 stars. It broke me. You know, I knew because he was the winner of his games that it was going to be, you know, heart-wrenching, but it did. I cried. I for sure cried. And it was fun to see the people that show up in the story, because there are people that were in the original trilogy that do make an appearance in this book. And then I did enjoy some of the new characters that we get introduced to, specifically Maisie. I really enjoyed her character, and I like to see the development, the friendship type of development between her and Haymitch. And yeah, it was so good. It was really good. This was one I'd been waiting for a while. I still haven't read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I don't care. I don't plan on reading that one. And I don't feel like I was confused going into this one. I know some people recommend to read that one first. I don't feel like I was confused. I knew who President Snow was, and I got the connections, even though I had never read the book or watched the movie about President Snow. So if you were concerned about that, I'd say don't worry about it. You can read this one. So, oh, and this was for the prompt, my official TBR prompt, highest rated on my TBR. So this one was the highest rated on Goodreads for sure. And I just realized that I didn't put up, I'll do it at the end before I talk about the wax bars that I got through. I'll put up my official TBR, which I usually do at the beginning, so you can see what ones I actually read from the TBR and what ones I didn't. Okay, next book is The Summer of Yes by Courtney Walsh. And this was for the prompt, set in a city you want to visit. So this starts out in New York City, and I'd love to visit New York City. I think it'd be great. So that worked perfectly. So this is a women's fiction type of book with some romance thrown in, and I did give it a 5 star. 2 5 stars in a row. I was very happy. So this is about a girl named Kelsey, and at the beginning of the book, she gets in an accident. A car jumps the curb onto the sidewalk as she's leaving Starbucks, and she gets hit. And so she's in this accident, and she ends up in the hospital, and by miracle for sure, she has a bit of a concussion, but other than that, she is okay. She doesn't have any broken bones or anything like that. So in her hospital room, though, they bring in another patient who, what was her name? Georgina Tate. And she is this famous makeup guru mogul, like businesswoman. She has a makeup empire. And they share a room together. They end up getting to know one another, kind of. But Kelsey, from her experience in the accident, realizes that she's not living her life up to what she feels like she should. That she's spent so much time just concentrating on work, and her desire to make it up in the company that she's in a publishing company, that she says no to things all the time, like friends and family and trips and everything like that. And so she decides that she wants to work on saying yes to things. So that's why it's called The Summer of Yes. And she convinces, in a little bit of an underhanded way, a little bit, kind of tricks Georgina into doing it as well. And Georgina is an older lady. She has a ton of regrets, which she kind of admitted to Kelsey at the beginning when they first started to get to know each other. And so Kelsey convinces Georgina to go on this trip. And Georgina's biggest regrets revolve around her husband, who she's been estranged from for decades, and her son. And there's a lot of things that end up happening in regards to, you find out that Georgina, it's hush hush, but she is dying from kidney failure, unless she gets a kidney. And so that's where the story goes from there. So they go on a trip. They end up in the town that has Georgina's family, and it was wonderful. I really, really enjoyed it. I loved the characters. I loved the relationship between Kelsey and Georgina. Georgina certainly was a character, but I did enjoy her, and I enjoyed how she developed and realized some things. I did enjoy the sweet love story that was in this, and I thought it was so fun. And yeah, so 5 stars. And Courtney Walsh, it's a clean romance. She writes clean books, so no language and no open door scenes at all. So highly recommend that one. It was fun. The Summer of Yes. Okay, the next book after that was A Forgery of Fate by Elizabeth Lim. And this was for the prompt, character moves to a new town. And so I cannot get over how stunning this book is. I love it so much. This is the Owl Crate edition of the book. So this is a story about a girl whose father, a few years back, disappeared at sea, and they thought he was killed at sea because they have no word from him at all. And so it's the aftermath of that. Her mother ends up, and what was her name? Her name is Truyen, so True for short, ends up kind of having to be the provider for her family, for her 2 sisters and her mother, because her mother ends up having a gambling addiction stemming from her sorrow over her husband disappearing at sea. And so True, who is an artist, she's able to forge art. And that is where it starts. So she starts forging art projects to sell to the nobility in her kingdom. And she has a guy that's kind of like the middleman who helps her to sell these artworks to people, these forged artworks. And from there, she ends up getting accosted by these crime lords who told her, if you don't pay a certain amount, we're going to take your sister. And so she's desperate, and she is like, I don't know what to do. And she ends up getting into having to run away from some of the crime bosses, henchmen, and ends up in this estate in the city that has this guy who has a bad reputation. Well, from there, she meets the guy, and she finds out that he needs someone to go like a marriage of convenience. So they would be married, and he will pay all of the debts that her mother has accrued and keep her family safe. And so they do end up coming to a marriage contract, and she finds out that he is actually a prince of the sea. He's a dragon, which you do find that stuff out. So I'm not really spoiling anything. He's a dragon, a sea dragon who lives under the ocean. and the story goes from there. It was really, really good. I don't know if I said 4.5 stars, if I didn't at the beginning. So almost a 5-star, but it didn't give me those 5-star feels. But I enjoyed True as a character. I enjoyed what was Along, who is the man, the dragon that she ended up having to deal with. And I enjoyed the relationship. It was a take on a like Beauty and the Beast type of story. And I thought it was really well done. And I enjoyed there was a whimsical vibe to the story with the like underwater stuff and just some of the things that happen in the book. And they end up having to work together to defeat another dragon in the book. So it was good. I really enjoyed it. 4.5 stars. Okay, after that, I read for Summerween, I read House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. This one I ended up giving 3 stars. It is a book about this family it's based on the 12 Dancing Princesses, kind of a reimagining of that. And except spooky, creepy version a little bit. So it is about a girl named Anna Lee Thomas and her sisters and family. And the other sisters end up keep on dying. Is what it is. They keep on dying. So it seems like there's tragic accident after tragic accident, and no one knows what is happening. The other people on the various islands where they live think that the family is cursed, and Anna Lee knows that there's got to be something going on. And so she tries to solve the mystery, but there is also at the same time another mystery where they live in a world that does have like gods, but the gods aren't like seen very often anymore. But they hear about this door that is supposed to lead you to a portal to where it could take you to other places. And so they find the door, and they every night end up going to different balls through this doorway that's supposed to lead them to other places. But there seems to be like something going on. Anna Lee seems to be getting haunted by her sisters, and the gamut of stuff. So this book started out as a 4-star for me. I was really digging it. It was a bit creepy for sure. It fit perfectly for the Summerween type of prompt, since it takes place, on an island in the sea, and so it feels summery, but at the same time it's creepy. And I just felt like the story kind of felt flat. Like it didn't know as I moved on through the story, through the book. It was kind of all over the place. It had the mystery of she's trying to figure out what has been happening, but at the same time, then there's these other things that, I don't know, she gets distracted, like going to the balls, and then there is this guy that she ends up falling for, but it was an insta love kind of situation, and there was no like real development between the two of them. And so that I wasn't a huge fan of. What was his name? Cassius. And so it just ended up being 3 stars. I liked it, but it felt like it could come together better. I possibly will eventually get to, there is a sequel called House of Roots and Ruin, which is a sequel to this book. And I would be interested in that one maybe next July for Summerween. I'll read that one. I don't know. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked the little bit of creepy elements to it, but it was just kind of all over the place for me. And then the reveal was kind of sudden, and yeah. So 3 stars. I enjoyed it. All right, the last book I read for the month of July was A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. And this was for the prompt illustrated cover. As you can see, it is illustrated. So this is inspired by Hades and Persephone type of myth. And it was enjoyable. It was about a girl named Luella, and she lives in the human realm, but there is also this other realm that has magical creatures, and it's separated by kind of like this mist or wall or whatever. It's not like a physical wall, but this area that people can't get through unless they have permission from the elves, from the Elf King. And every however so many years, once a human queen dies, they have to go and find another human queen. And the human queen has magic, and it presents itself when the girl reaches a certain age. It shows up, and she has time to develop it so she can become the bride of the Elf King. So that's where it starts. Well, Luella, she is like a healer. She loves what she does, and she's really good at it. And at the beginning, no one knows who the human queen is. It's been like over a year since they've needed one in the Elf Kingdom, and they haven't been able to find her. Well, come to find out, and this is at the beginning, Luella ends up finding out that she is this human queen, and her friend, who she had a crush on for a few years, had hid it through a certain means without her knowing it. And come to find out, he wasn't a very good person. And as the Elf King comes and they find out that Luella is the one that has this magic in her, he takes her to the Elf Kingdom. And the story goes from there. So as I said, it's based on the Hades and Persephone myth. So Luella is there against her will. She does not want to be there, but she has to be to help strengthen the, it's not a wall. I can't remember what they called it, but it was like this mist area that keeps the magical lands, it keeps them from dying. And at the same time, it helps the human lands not die from plagues, is pretty much what's been happening. And so I enjoyed it. It was good. Did I say? I don't think I did. It was a 3.5 stars for me. I'm always a sucker for the Hades and Persephone myth. And so I thought it was a different take on it that I thought was really well done. The Elf King, Eldos was his name. I thought the relationship was developed pretty well between him and Luella, and it was interesting to see his growth from being reserved and closed off and a bit on the cranky side to someone that came to trust Luella, and the relationship that developed between the two of them. So it was good. 3.5 stars. I would consider reading other ones. Not too much in the way of language. I think there was a couple of harsh language in it, and then there was one slightly open door scene, but it wasn't super graphic, but just as an FYI, because I do like to give content to you all. So that was that. Okay, So here's a look now at what was actually on my official TBR. So I was able to, from the official TBR, I read 4 out of the 7 books. So not too bad. And yeah, so there we go. Okay, now let's look at the wax bars that I did melt along with the books. So for Nightweaver, I ended up choosing Sun-Drenched Cotton, and this is still available as I am talking about the wax. Yeah, because this is part of the Destinations collection. This is a linen citrus type of scent, and to me it just felt like something that went, you know, you would smell the canvas from the pirate sails and that sort of thing. So that one I felt was a good choice for that book. And then Sunrise on the Reaping, I picked Barefoot Beach, not because of the name, but it just felt like, it's like an earthy, deep summer scent, and I still wanted a summery type of wax. Excuse me. And so it felt like it was a nice choice for a book about a terrible story. But anyway, this one was a good one. This is a, like I said, earthy, deep type of summer fragrance with it has macadamia nut and coconut and amber, I think, if I'm remembering right. But this is also available. Actually, all the ones I have to share are available on my website, so you can snag any of them if you want. Okay, next, the Summer of Yes. I decided on Island Bloom. This is a fun, fruity summer scent with a slight floral to my nose, even if it's not in the notes. And honestly, I picked this one because it matched the cover so prettily. I thought it was a good match. And we're talking about summer, and this is summer fruity goodness, so I had to choose that one. Then after that, for Forgery of Fate, I decided to go with, what did I use? I have to look again. Oh yeah, for Forgery of Fate, I went with Sorrento Breeze. This was also part of the Destinations summer collection. And I went with this one because it is an aquatic, fresh type of scent, and a bunch of the story takes place in the ocean. And so I was like, oh, this one's nice. And then it has this like pretty like floral, tropical floral note to it as well. And I felt that worked good for that book. Next, for the House of Salt and Sorrows, I decided to go with another type of aquatic scent, and it is Blue Skies and Bergamot. And this one is a little more of a deeper, it's not as light and bright of an aquatic scent to my nose. This one felt like a spookier version, and since we're going spooky island with that book, I felt like it was a good pick. And then lastly, for A Deal with the Elf King, I chose Camus, which is a classic. It's so good. And this one was mainly because I was like, the story, since we're talking Hades and Persephone, we're talking about the sweet meets the like tangy kind of sourness of Hades. And that's what you get with this one, with the Camu and the passion fruit, and I think it's tangerine in this one. Like I said, I can't remember for sure, but it's so good. This one's so good. This is a classic, been around forever, and it felt like a good fit for this book. So that's it, you guys. That is everything that I've been getting through. Let me know in the comments what you read in the month of July, and if you had any 5 stars, let me know that too. I was happy that I had two five stars and then one that was super close. And yeah, thank you. I appreciate all of you, and please like and subscribe if you haven't yet for more book and home fragrance content. And until next time, TTFN. Ta-ta for now.